I wanted to be an educator because I believe that education is the most powerful weapon that can change the world.
My dreams and aspiration is to one day become an entrepreneur.
Desires that moved from dreams to reality. Stay with us to hear their stories of success. I'm Adrian Atkinson and you're watching Jamaica Magazine. Our students are also empowered with words of affirmation. We'll be right back.
Energy saving is not a maybe, it's a must. So hear this. Yo, turn off your light, turn off your TV and your fan. When you not use it, turn off your heater and your AC as part of the plan. When you not use it, the public sector retrofitting, so the private sector and we fi join in. Retrofitting? Yeah. What that? How you do that? Listen up. Hey, a whole time light bulb. That's what that. Use energy saving bulb. I delete that. Put a regulator on your refrigerator. Use your wits to save water. Be smart, you know. And all motorists who love to drive fast. Ease up half of the gas. Save gas. Energy conservation throughout the nation. Every woman and man come join in the plan. The plan to save energy. We must save energy. Ease up on the energy. Up on the energy. Save today, protect tomorrow.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, May 9. Signaling a strategic new direction that is focused on preventative health care, the ministry charged with this oversight has been renamed the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says it is in line with the World Health Organization's definition of health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. By highlighting the wellness aspects of health, he says the ministry will increase the promotion of healthy lifestyle choices. These include healthy eating habits, healthy sexual and reproductive decisions, and improvement in the early detection of non-communicable diseases. But the health minister stresses that the success of this approach lies in partnerships and in people recognizing their responsibility for their own health and wellness. In the meantime, the Health and Wellness Minister has announced a $1 billion expansion of the program to reduce waiting times in the public health sector. This will remove the excessive waits for inpatient surgeries and diagnostic services, as well as issues with bed space starting this year.
It is impatient of debate. Take a constituent with a hemorrhoid problem, hernia problem. It's not going to kill them, but it places that citizen of this country in so much pain. There's downtime from work. Take a mother or a sister or a daughter with fibroids every month, excessive bleeding, missing work time, pain, suffering. Mr. Speaker, we would be an uncaring government if we did not find a way to respond.
Dr. Tufton was making his contribution to the sectoral debate in Parliament this Tuesday. He says the ministry will recalibrate to do more of the common surgeries, such as for hernias, prostate, hemorrhoids, gallbladder disease, and orthopedic procedures, and ensure efficient record of requests for these services. Trained surgeon Professor Archibald MacDonald has been appointed to oversee implementation of this initiative by September 2019. In other health news, residents of Black River and its environs are benefiting from upgrades to their health center. The Black River Health Center was recently reopened after a $13 million renovation and expansion project financed by the Tourism Enhancement Fund.
This event marks a milestone for many areas within the Ministry of Health. And in particular, it marks a milestone for the Reducing Waiting Times initiative and the Enhancing Emergency Medical Care project that is funded by the Tourism Enhancement Fund.
Opening hours at the health center have also been extended from the usual 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. to now close at 8:30 p.m. on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays.
It is saying, or should say to all of us, in the community, in the parish, and by extension in the country, because we're rolling it out across the country. If you have an issue and you can hold till work day is done, just relax, because the health center is open until 8:30.
2/3 of the members of parliament have voted to extend for 90 days the state of public emergency now in effect for the island's most westerly parishes. First declared on April 30, the enhanced security measure will be in effect until July 29 for the parishes of St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. During Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives, 44 members voted for the security measure, 1 voted against, while 18 members were absent from the vote. As he sought to secure the extension, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the state of emergency was one of the ways in which the government was preserving life.
What we have is a systemic problem that is beyond the capacity of regular law enforcement to deal with. The right to life is being threatened. When you are at 183 per 100,000, the right to life is definitely now being threatened. So this statistic is of 183 is more than what you would compare, for example, with countries that are at war. So we really have a problem that we have to acknowledge.
Meanwhile, a manhunt is now on for the gunmen who killed 33-year-old Constable Todmar Allen in Rollington Town, St. Andrew, yesterday. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says the ministry will provide the Jamaica Constabulary Force with all the resources needed for the investigation. While expressing condolences to Constable Allen's family, friends, and colleagues, Dr. Chang has also called on Jamaicans to come forward with information to bring the perpetrators to justice. And finally, the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center is scheduled to open in October. $27 million is being spent to refurbish a complex at the University of the West Indies Mona campus where the center is to be housed. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett toured the facility on Tuesday. He says the ministry's first global conference is scheduled for the first week in October, and global board members of the center are expected to be in attendance. The Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center is being established to assess, plan for, forecast, mitigate, and manage risks related to tourism resilience and crisis management. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
For over 40 years, the European Union and Jamaica have enjoyed a partnership built on shared values, trust, and respect. Through a joint cooperation program, the EU is supporting Jamaica to achieve its development goals outlined in Vision 2030. Key areas of support include justice, financial reform, poverty reduction, health, human rights and democracy, environmental protection and agriculture. Jamaica and the European Union, promoting sustainable development and creating opportunities for all Jamaicans.
Having a dream to achieve something and not having the means can be devastating. But when help comes knocking and you grab the opportunity, that becomes history. And the rest is success and empowerment. That's the reality for young persons who have and are benefiting from the European Union Poverty Reduction Program.
I wanted to be an educator because I believe that education is the most powerful weapon that can change the world.
My dreams and aspiration is to one day become an entrepreneur where I can employ other persons and help to build the country.
I wanted to go into development. I wanted to help people become better versions of themselves. Growing up, I saw a lot of violence, I saw a lot of crime, I saw a lot of poverty. The challenges are so many. The first one that comes to mind is the level of youth unemployment that's here.
Challenges that exist here in West Prospect Bogwalk are lack of awareness for educational opportunities or job opportunities.
Not many got a chance to do CXC or graduate from the secondary level. So that's a major setback for the people living in the community.
A way to alleviate this issue is training programs.
They need more opportunities, like to go back to school to get themselves a certificate so they can be able to work and create employment for themselves and their family.
Push more entrepreneurship opportunity, encourage these youths to be creative and innovative in what they do. Give them startup capital to start their business. Invest more in the youth skills and talents.
The Poverty Reduction Program is funded by the European Union, and it really is a program that focuses on the most vulnerable type of communities, making communities safer, making citizens more healthy, better access to education.
For European Union, investing in youth is an obvious choice. They are the future of the country. If we prepare them well, they will bring the change that Jamaica needs. That's why we invest in scholarships, internship, training in life skills and mentorship.
I received a tertiary scholarship from PRP to attend the University of Technology, Jamaica. It meant a lot to me because I realized that somebody else believed in me and somebody saw the potential that I have and somebody believed that I could actually achieve my goal.
I benefited by getting firstly an internship, and also they assisted my bachelor's degree financially. But critically, outside of the finances, the persons that were on the project, you know, the motivation that they provided, etc., it really provided a huge boost.
This is my third year at the MICO. This scholarship, it helped me to be able to focus only on my education here, because tertiary education is not cheap.
I was placed at ODPEM on the one-year internship program. It was really good. It was an opportunity for me to prove myself, to give myself a service, and also to gain experience in the working world, and to also provide for my family.
I plan to be an agent of change in my community by being a mentor, a leader, and a godfather for the youths growing up. Try to help them teach them a trade.
You don't have to be rich to help. You don't have to achieve greatness to start. I contributed to my basic school by providing them with the necessary resources that they need, that I believe that in the long run, it will have a ripple effect on many, many persons.
Professionally, I manage the whole program, which is aimed at giving young persons the opportunity to, you know, do what I did, basically, to get their foot inside an organization. Additionally, I also have a little small business that I try to employ young persons to learn a skill, etc.
When you're persistent in life, when you're determined, when you're hungry for success, then you'll be able to accomplish and achieve anything that you want.
It has changed hundreds and hundreds of lives. Not just my life, my family lives, my friends' lives, etc. I want to just urge everyone looking on to continue these social programs. These are the solutions to the many ills that we face as a society and as a country and even as a world. So thank you, and I challenge you, continue it. It's needed.
Each of us has a different learning pattern. Some can manage on their own, while others need that special attention. And there are those who need to hear that they can do it.
How many is that? 20. All right, so of my population, we have strongly agree. So let's count up all the persons who agree over here. Count 10 plus 2, 12 persons agreed. Everybody understands what was taught a while ago about interconnection?
It is important that our good grades on our tests so that we can get something. It makes me feel very happy to know that there is a teacher who might tell me if I do not understand.
Assurance means so much to our children. It's motivation for them to perform at their very best, even right here in the classroom. And my little friends, Miracle, Alyssa, Rihanna, and Latanya will agree as I ask them this very important question. Why do you want your teacher to make sure that you are learning?
Because in our future, we'll have to get some good careers and it might mess us up. For instance, if you are going to be a chef, you got to learn what ingredients to use and what to not use.
As Miracle said, it will interfere with our future if we don't get a good education or not. So it is very important for our teachers to teach us so that it doesn't interfere with our careers and our future.
Affirm me that I can learn.
What do you want from your teacher?
Like her attitude supposed to be good. So if I say I don't understand and she's doing it over and over again and she be making up her face, I like her to work on her attitude. Well, I would like her to work on the way she explains it because it would be nice if they would go a little slower and go through it with us so that we can get to understand it properly. Affirm me so that I can learn.
Thomas, you heard the students. They say they want teachers to explain more to them. They want them to don't speak too soft or too harsh to them to make sure that they are learning. What do you say to that?
First and foremost, I do believe, like the children, that teachers have to be patient. And even though somebody may be a very good student in one subject area, they may not be a very good student in another subject area. And secondly, explanation is part of the curriculum.
What are some of the things that you do? What are some of the methods that you use as a teacher to make sure that your students are learning?
Some students understand quicker, some don't, so we can pair them up with those who don't understand, because sometimes peer learning is better than even us explaining. But I find that they understand better and they understand longer, so they remember longer when they work on it themselves, and it is the same for us as adults. So the confidence that they have help them to develop and want to learn more, even if the topic is something that they didn't like in the first place.
It is good to know that you have somebody that you can go to that is willing to help you to understand what is being taught. Affirm me so that I can learn. I feel good when my teacher gives me good comments on my work.
Like, keep it up. Good job. And those are some compliments that will motivate children as they go on in life.
I will continue to affirm my students that their learning benefits them.
Affirm me that I can learn.
better. Smoking is bad for your health, and when grown-ups smoke around us, we are breathing in their smoke too.
Cigarette smoking is bad for your health and the health of those around you. Don't smoke around children. A message from the Pan American Health Organization.
Our final feature today looks at the recognitions received by public sector bodies for outstanding work in several areas.
From a private sector perspective, we acknowledge the efforts of the state in developing a culture of accountability and transparency.
We will support, as an opposition, the efforts of the PSOJ to lobby the government and indeed of the government itself in elevating the corporate governance standards to becoming mandatory.
The Ministry of Finance was proud to partner with the PSOJ in the award ceremony today, which recognized public bodies that exhibited good corporate governance practices. And so we'd have helped in providing the information required for the selection of those who were deserving of awards.
That's been an extensive partnership, a very positive partnership, and probably one of the better public-private sector partnerships that I've seen really collaborating and working together. We're so excited because today we had 4 category awards, and the first one was to deal with board composition and structure. The next one looked at corporate governance practices. The other one looked at risk management practices, and the other one was disclosure and transparency. Along with actually having special awards for annual report and also for website.
The second runner-up for this award is the Broadcasting Commission of Jamaica. The first runner-up for this award is Jamaica Mortgage Bank Limited. And ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the 2018 Corporate Governance Award for Board Composition, Function and Structure is National Health Fund. The second runner-up for this award is Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority. The first runner-up for this award is National Health Fund. And ladies and gentlemen, the winner for the 2018 Corporate Governance Award for Corporate Governance Policies, Procedures and Practices is Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation. The second runner-up for this award is National Health Fund. The first runner-up for this award is Development Bank of Jamaica. And ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the 2017 Corporate Governance Award for Compliance and Disclosure of Information is Exim Bank Limited.
The event today was very good. I was happy at the participation of the public bodies. Last year we had, I think we had 12 public bodies, and the number has increased this year, and we are very happy for that because it is a voluntary awards that they have to, that they're participating. It's not mandatory.
I think for Jamaican public management, it really helps to bring to fore issues of governance, ability to perform, and really a focus on how we make things better as public bodies, because we all have different mandates, but at the end of the day, it's about carrying out our mandate in a way that is beneficial to the people of this country.
We are part of a global world, and we're influenced by what happens elsewhere, and what happens elsewhere is influenced by what happens here. In that context, ensuring that we do everything that we can to make sure that in Jamaica, public trust is not only maintained, but it's entrenched, it's deepened, it's increased, it's improved, is the only way for our democracy to thrive, and for us to experience the progress and prosperity that we want to.
The second runner-up for this award is Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority. The first runner-up for this award is Jamaica Mortgage Bank Limited. And the winner of the 2018 Corporate Governance Award for Risk Measurement and Management and Internal Controls is Development Bank of Jamaica. The second runner-up for this award is JDIC, Jamaica Deposit Insurance Corporation. The first runner-up for this award goes to Office of Utilities and Regulations. And the winner of the 2018 Corporate Governance Award for Best Annual Report is DBJ. The second runner-up for this award is Exim Bank Limited. The first runner-up for this award is the Broadcasting Commission of Jamaica. And the winner of the 2018 Corporate Governance Award for the Best Website is National Health Fund.
The reason we are here today, however, is a testament to the fact that hope is not lost for governance practices in the public sector. It is therefore imperative that we hold those entities up for public recognition and respect, and that we encourage others to do the right thing every time.
And the winner, a drum roll please. There you go, I like it when we're involved, of the 2018 Public Sector Corporate Governance Award for Excellence in Corporate Governance is National Health Fund.
I think a commitment to continuous improvement is really our abiding principle, and that's one of the things we promote both at the level of the board and at the level of management.
So the National Health Fund won this year. They won last year, and this is what this event is all about, to incentivize those and not for us to focus only on the negatives.
In our democracy, public trust is the only currency that we have, and public trust rests on the premise that those who are appointed or elected to serve do so in the national interest.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health.
As we close today's show, we ask that you stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.